I think everyone thinks about the teachers which have impacted them. And the ones which really reside in my memory are the ones that created problems or programs where they didn't know the right answers. It created a sense of excitement, it created a kind of tension and energy. My teaching philosophy is very much about framing an opportunity for students to work on real life problems, on complex ones without clear answers, and working together with students.
Well, after visiting the village and meet the villagers, I think what architecture means is the basic relationship between people and the building, and how the villagers live in the environment which can provide their basic needs.
You can experience the atmosphere and have a true feeling of what is going on in the society and in the community, instead of just reading from the books that we get theoretical knowledge that is incomparable to such kind of experience.
Teaching to me is never one-way magisterial instruction, for the simple reason that a teacher is only a student with a license. I often think of a pithy statement made by the scholar writer Han Yu, 師者傳道授業解惑人. In the process of communicating it with students, you will hope that in the process they will come to feel something. So you do that on the belief that all great writings, be they philosophy or poetry, will somehow generate a certain positive effect on their spirits. A teacher, by definition, is a role model. I think it is day in, day out, and it's in these ways that you hope to inspire them in a positive direction.
Teaching is kind of a very heavy responsibility. China has a long history for education. We should recall that Confucius said, to learn is enjoyable. To review is enjoyable. Learning is not about learning facts, rather it is about learning how to be a person. Okay, not even knowledge. Knowledge you can read from books, but to be a person, you really need a lot of practice.
History is both the truth past and really a competition between hypotheses about the true past. I try to make learning active by valorizing student voices, by linking assessment closely to learning, because I think we need to try and encourage students to make connections between their lives, those of others, and to help to see themselves as co-creators of knowledge about very chaotic and complex past.
Now I feel an intimate relationship between the past and me. I came to realize that many historical incidents actually happened in the places around us after visiting the museum.
If you really show something valuable in the class, the students feel why they have to learn, then they will come to the class. But that's the reason why normally I don't take any attendance. I always tell the students, okay, just follow my lecturers to study. You may not either get past. Now what I'm showing in the class, what I discuss with you, those are questions in the exam.
No people are there to absent, and no people are there to sleep. Not only because they want to jot down what Ellen said, but we also think that is very interesting.
And we are not just teaching, we are providing a platform for them to learn by themselves, provide more opportunity for them to know something new about the industry, about the knowledge in the textbook, and also we want them to have some sort of idea in mind that there's a lifelong learning is very important.
To effectively help someone, I'm aware that we should not just focus on their presenting problem. We also have to be aware that those people who need help usually have a very bad past. My past experience in the field have been very helpful for me to teach, because I have a lot of real cases and real situations that I can share with my students.
Elaine is a very respectable and caring teacher who has influenced me a lot. She always encouraged us, especially as a social work students, to participate in voluntary services.
I want to get to know more about the society. And as students, we only limit in the academic environment in university. So through the services, we can actually reach out and to know more about what's really happened in the society.
There are many slogans that we hear about in higher education. One of them is student-centered learning. Now, this is a very important part of a useful teaching philosophy. So we have to shift the thinking when we design the learning program to place the student in the center and ask, what is the student experience?
He's not someone who puts himself in a superior position, so that you can always treat him as someone who understands you. And because he has high expectations for all of us, it is easy to tell him that you are encountering difficulties. He's very understandable, so he actually solves the problem or tries to explain it in a different, unconventional way.
And students are already intellectually mature. They have their own views which they can defend and which are sometimes better than others, better than the teachers.
I designed learning activities that would link up academic learning with real social issues happening around the students. One of such experiential learning activity is called Appreciating Frailty in a Weight. This approach actually consists of 4 parts, namely to do, to engage, to reflect, and to apply. I let students put on some props so that they can experience some physical impairments common to many older people. With this empathetical understanding of the needs of older people, they do the reflection and finally they apply what they have learned into designing something meaningful for older people. I think we come to the era of universal education. We now have a student population that is very diverse when compared to 20 years ago. And therefore, when we design our course content, learning activities, or assessment approach, we have to pay attention to the pedagogy so as to address the diverse learning needs of our students.
She always takes the initiatives to gather a core group of colleagues who will try out the new technique, new approach, and then to reassess the result and bring this experience to a broader group of colleagues.
If I can do something that can appreciate by my colleague, it means that I have done something to enhance their teaching. And then if I can enhance their teaching, it means that the students' learning is also enhanced. So I think that is the motivator for myself. It is okay for me to work even harder.
We give students some electronic resources before they come to the lecture so that they are well prepared and they can answer some questions and we have some interaction. We can show some cases, we can bring in some patients.
He also has an OLC learning platform. He has a website set up and it's got all these videos and tutorials and takes you step by step through different learning modules. And I found that very helpful. In the background there was Professor Kamta's voice as well.
At some point, even communication skills are something that we must model because you can't only teach them. You can teach them the principles, but they must see how it's modeled. I give them an opportunity to observe first how I approach the patient, and then they do it themselves.
Some 10 years ago, I realized that the use of clicker can promote classroom interaction and is very effective in science teaching. I therefore introduced it in my classroom in the year 2007.
When the result is announced, we can actually see how many people chose this answer, how many people chose that answer. It's actually also good for the professor to know where the students are in terms of learning.
It can help to raise students' interaction, engage them to reflect on specific topics, and also promote class interaction.
History, in fact, still plays an essential role in the modern world. Understanding the past can provide us with some experience which may help us avoid making mistakes, and that the wisdom of the past may still be applicable in today's society.
As teachers, I think right now we're facing an epochal challenge because we have to convey disciplinary content, but we can't rely on transmission models. Technology can free up class time for more active learning, but we're actually struggling to translate the excitement of the classroom into virtual learning environment.
What we have done at Hong Kong U is to, rather than conventionally thinking of experiential learning, we've taken this pyramid of knowledge and we've kind of turned it upside down. We've, introduced the idea of a real project right at the very beginning, so that as their work becomes more theoretical, as they develop their own ideas later on, they already have a very concrete, solid notion of what it means to build architecture.
「飛花亂水飄飄舉，浮生本是雲煙裏。風過樹成蕭，扁舟江上搖。一杯清水暖，兩盞書燈伴。看墨自交音，輕歌煙代琴。」
我自己寫詩詞都寫咗好耐啦啊！會開啟你個心窗啊，言志亦何傷？有咩所謂咧？詩歌其實都係咧，歸根到底咧，第一樣嘢要講嘅都係一個真誠。
能夠話以一個學者同埋作者雙重嘅身份去吟唱一啲詩詞，令到同學能夠去親身去感受到嗰種古典詩詞嘅韻文嘅魅力，而且佢嗰種風采咧，就會令到人哋想去跟佢學習。
In my freshman year, and I remember Professor Kwong walked into the classroom and he started to lecture without any PowerPoints or lecture notes. He just stood there with a few pages of notes in his hands and he lectures for 2 hours with style, and I was thoroughly impressed.
You must, be excellent in whatever you do to your patients. Not only should we understand the biology and the science behind the disease and treatment, but you should understand the social and economic background, both of the individual and the environment in which medicine is practiced, because that is what will influence how patients perceive, what are their expectations, and how do they themselves behave.
Most patients come in and once they see him, they're very, very happy. It is like seeing an old friend. It's a trust.
That's being a sensitive and a caring person rather than being just a technically competent doctor. And I think this is what I'm trying to model, that is important to be a caring person, whether you're a doctor or a nurse, and I think that's a very good model to set up. You must be compassionate and caring, and I think is a very important philosophy in the practice of the art of medicine or the art of healing, if you want to call it.
The experience of working in an NGO, youth agency, given me a lot of experience of how to organize this kind of loose youth energy to be organized energy to serve the community. I input a lot of knowledge, concepts or models of work in my program so that students both will benefit themselves for their own development, and they also will have a chance to learn the real causes of social problems in the community.
Another experiential learning activity is called the Life Mentor Scheme. In this scheme, 2 students are partnered with one older person who becomes their life mentor. They are then required to contact each other either inside classroom or outside classroom at least 5 times.
As I am an engineering student, I think I can help the elderly to build a more elderly-friendly society and a community for them to live.
In the past, as a social worker, I serve older people with my 2 hands. But now when I teach, I share my passion and my ideas about how best to serve older people with my students. So there will be lots of hands. I am confident that the network that I'm building now would function and bring about even bigger impacts in the aging society.
I asked the students early on to keep a diary, a kind of a diary that involves events in the Hong Kong community that occur throughout the period of the course. They identify those artifacts not in books written by law professors, but they identify the artifacts in their own community. They learn to identify what is a legally relevant artifact and to write about it critically.
We have this reflective media diary in which we have to do 10 pieces of newspaper clipping in the semester. And it is fun because you will have to pay attention to all the legal issues around the world.
When you are learning in the university, okay, you are not just looking for your score, but what else you want to look for? But the outcomes, okay, what you learn, really learn.
He always organized some competitions and industrial visits for us so we can have more experience and more contact with the reality instead of only on the books.
Based on their design mindset, entrepreneur's mindset, engineering knowledge. So after the student gets through all this kind of training, they really have to make a product.
We have a lot of great design ideas that came out. When we were in the classroom setting, they are really students. But once they are outside of the classroom settings, they're like experimenters.
I felt very happy, you see. The senior management on that company, they are so appreciative. We can train those students, can do product design, engineering design, and they know a bit about the marketing of the product as well.
Then we had the first exhibition, 2007. The whole idea is to create an environment students can build confidence and exercise their passion, and maybe through these kind of activities become an entrepreneur. Really good portfolios for their future. Already we have students successful in getting resources from government to build their own career and also establish their own companies.
All those kind of experience make me feel like I gain a lot from SIG. If I have motivation, if I have passion, I can make things happen. And I meet lots of interesting people there. One of that is Chris, is now one of my business partner. Me and Chris think that we is a good team, and that's why we are having our own company for 3 years and doing digital media stuff.